what exactly is
Yeah,
matrix, first of all, and then you can go ahead that how we can come out of it.
exactly. So we need to understand. First of all, we need to identify the fact that everything that, like, the whole universe is just energy. On a very, very, very fundamental level, atoms, molecules, the water, our brains, our neurons, everything is just forms of energy, and
Yeah.
energy exists in fields. So
Okay.
consciousness is just a field of energy.
Welcome back, guys, to this new session. And today we are going to cover a lot of things because I'm very excited for this session. We are going to cover about matrix, about the blockages that we are in right now. Like there are multiple things. We are just all the human beings and all the people are just running in a rat race. So how we can like exit this matrix and be a part of the real world? And how does the real world look like? What is the real happiness? And what is the thing that we want in our life, like what is our goal, what is our end goal that we want to reach in our life? So we are going to discover a lot of things and going to talk about beautiful things in this podcast. So I'm very excited because today we have Martino with us. So Martino, how are you?
Hey man, thank you for having me. I'm great. I'm doing great. I am from Canada right now. We're transmitting, so there is a big time difference, but that makes it quite fun. Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm really excited about this conversation. I think it's gonna go in. It's gonna branch out in many meaningful ways.
100%.
Um, for the people that don't know me, yeah, my name is Martino. I am the creator of the Estegua project, and I'm here to empower people through energy work progresses and the integration of a new linguistic paradigm that I am bringing out into the world, which I'm sure we will talk about into the podcast. But yes, I'm here because I stumbled across some great experiences in my life that allowed me to shift my perception of the world, and I decided that that was really, really valuable, and that could have been become my mission in a way, like my inspiration to do something into this world. So here I am.
Yeah, amazing. So, Martino, like, I just want to know something more about you. Like, there are a lot of people who talk about that, like, spirituality is the thing that we should go after a certain age, after a retirement, or
Right.
after, like, we are done with our life or something like that. So, you are very young, and in a young and energetic way, you are into this industry. So, what drives you towards this industry, or like, how do you enter this field?
That's a great question. Yeah, some people have this conception that spirituality and it's something to look, as you said, at the end of life. I don't think that's necessarily the case, because first of all, it's really fun to actually find meaning in life.
Right.
And spirituality is not about worshiping some sort of dogma, or at least for me, like for me, when I say spirituality, even just the term spirituality to me doesn't really make much sense, because spirituality is just about like paying attention to what's going on in life
Yeah.
and paying attention to the patterns around you, how things move. If you really pay attention to the state of reality, you will realize that there is a certain amount of weirdness, a certain amount of strange happening that can follow you. Carl
Right.
Jung, one of the greatest philosophers of the last century, called it synchronicity. And I am, with my research, I am following through the work of Carl Jung a lot, because the whole path for me started when I started to pay attention to this synchronicity, which is fundamentally the observing the amount of coincidences in your life just keep increasing and increasing, and sometimes it increases to a point where you have to pay attention. It's almost like the universe knocking on your door and asking you, hey, are you ready to look at me, in a way, right? And when you do that, at least in my experience, when I started doing that, reality itself started to really change and almost blossom. And that blossoming brought me meaning, brought me purpose, brought me happiness, brought me curiosity, which then allowed me to discover fields of research, people, having incredible experiences that I'm actually very glad that I'm having now that I am 20, 25, instead of like having to wait till I'm 60 and I don't have any energy anymore, you know.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I know it also brought me to into the field of research and the field of practice of qigong energy work, which allows me to stay connected to my health, connect my body and my mind, um, generate human energy in my field, quite literally, not just like metaphorically, but actually generating vital energy, which then allows me to be more in control in a way, but by letting go of a certain kind of control, become more in control of how to direct your life and how the timeline um, shapes in front of you as you move into the future, right? So
Right.
this is, nutshell what it is for me.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And you told the exact thing, that spirituality is something that if we are focused on the thing that is going on, like mainly to be in present. If you are in present and focusing on what are the things that's going on, so you are a person who is aware of the things that are going on in front of you. But what is the difference between a person who is not at all spiritual, who is normal human being, and what is the difference between a people when they go to this path and learn about spirituality, get some experiences? So what's the difference between both of them?
Um, so first of all, I don't. I think everybody is spiritual in the sense that it's not that you suddenly tune into things that were not there.
Yeah.
It's just that you start to realize that everything that we carry on in our present moment has a
Right.
certain value and has a certain meaning and has a
Right.
certain structure. And so I would say that the difference is like it's kind of like, when you're dreaming and then you wake up from the dream, or you realize that you're dreaming, maybe in a lucid dream, you have this
Yeah.
awareness. And when you wake up, then suddenly you know that you're awake. You don't really doubt that. Like when you're dreaming and you're on that line between being awake and dreaming, you're like, oh, am I dreaming? Am I not? You're kind of confused about what's going on. And then suddenly there is that click and you just really open your eyes, and then you're in your bed and you're like, okay, well, this is reality, right? So in a
Hmm.
way, this I would say that this for is, if you want to have an experience that kind of define the threshold between um, awakening, I
Yeah.
think that it's this kind of experience to actually have a fundamental fully experience in which you say, oh, okay, this is what's going on. And when you have this kind of experience, which it's quite hard to describe with words because it's a really inner experience that you have, and it brings in patterns, relationships that you had your entire life, all sorts of things that suddenly coalesce into one moment in which you're like, oh my God, this is what's going on. Like I'm actually alive. I'm here, and you kind of grasp the meaning of it. Once you have this experience, then it's just that you're more focused on what's going on
Right.
because you under like through experience. It's an experiential knowing that there is something around this experience. There is something deeper. Then
Yeah.
you can look into this mystery, and every time that you have the courage to look into the mystery, things happen. There is like little bubbles of miracles or extremely incredible experiences that happen both on a personal level and around you, and in a way that our human understanding, our human rational understanding doesn't necessarily understand,
Hmm.
because the relationship between cause and effect that is into play, it's way too in way too complicated in a way for our human understanding to grasp. And so many people dismiss spirituality and synchronicity and all of that and say, oh, it's just coincidence, it's just your mind, it's just your imagination, which is just a way to protect the dream, right? Which is okay.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with it. If someone's sleeping and he wants to keep sleeping, I'm the first one to say keep sleeping, bro. Like you need to rest, you know. But then
Right.
some people are mostly with the world and what's going on nowadays and the whole chaos. And as you said at the beginning, the rat race, some people are becoming
Yeah.
quite tired of it. And as you
Hmm.
become tired of it, there is this natural, almost instinct that makes you say, okay, well, this is all fun and games, but what's the point? You know, like, why am I going to work every day? Why am I doing all of this stuff? Like, what's like, is this it? And that's kind of terrifying in a way. And so that's why some people are, in my opinion, that's why some people protect the dream, because they are afraid of really, really facing the big question: is there a point to life
Yeah.
or not? Because people are afraid of of the answer no. Now, in my system of understanding, there is no point, but
Yeah.
that's the greatest liberation, because the moment you realize that we are, there is no point, there's nowhere to go, there's nowhere to be except being right here. That's what pulls you out of the rat race, because the rat race is this idea that schools, family, institution, they always
Right.
tell you, oh, you have to do this because there is a future, like, you know, you have to like
Hmm.
get the promotion and then make more money and then make, and it's like, why?
Why?
And
Yeah.
so, right, and that's what drives people crazy, because, but it's not the, people think that what drives them crazy is the eventuality or the possibility that there's not a why, and they think that that would be a really bad realization, because they're like, well, then why am I alive? But that's not, in my opinion, that's not it. Like, if when you see that fundamentally the universe just happens, and that we are in a way the universe experiencing itself, experimenting with itself to see what can happen, you realize that we're in a field governed by complete free will, and this freedom is what allows you to actually be at peace and be happy
Hmm.
and do whatever you want with your life. If there was a point, if there was a fundamental idea or a fundamental end goal, we would be trapped to do that. It would be quite
Yeah.
interesting for me, because you've been, well, then you have to do that, and then you're trapped in it, right? So like, that's why I have some critique towards certain kind of organized religion or organized system of thoughts, because I
Yeah.
think that by saying, oh, you have to get there, you have, this is the end goal, you have to get to heaven, or whatever they say, they kind of trap the human spirit into this idea that you must do it, otherwise what, you know?
Hmm.
And even people that like maybe consider themselves atheist nowadays, or that
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
more into
It's
business
very
and stuff, I think they're actually stuck in the same pattern of any religion, because they still need to find a purpose that it's something,
true.
instead of just, what if you just realize that there is no purpose at all, not fundamentally at least. And then there's two questions that arise. First of all, well, what's going to happen then? Like, what are we doing and doing with this life? And secondly, if there is no fundamental purpose, then all the purpose that we create for ourselves, where does it actually come from? And that's a really
Hmm.
interesting question to me.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is, this is very important to understand about the rat race that you told me, that why we are doing this, like why, because like the thing is that all the person and all the people have the same cycle and they are just stuck in a loop.
Yeah.
And I think that most of the things that we do in our life are influenced by someone. We are
Hmm.
not doing that particular thing because we want to do that. We are doing that particular thing because we are manipulated or we are influenced by someone to do that.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
like, I have seen that if I buy anything in my life, I am not buying that because I want to buy that. I'm just buying that because I'm influenced by someone, or I am just manipulated by someone, that this is a problem that you have to solve, or this
Yes.
they have created a problem, that this is a problem that has been created by them, and they are just solving the same problem. And like, we as a human being are just stuck in a loop. What I think about this is, yeah, you wanted to add something?
No, yeah, go on, go on, go on, and then I'll.
Oh, what I think is that as a like, the main thing is, our as a human mind, it is very necessary to understand that what who we are exactly. Because if you will see about a zoo, let's take an example of a zoo. Like if
Mm-hmm.
there is a lion, if you will see a lion in a jungle, in a forest, a lion is very like a king of the jungle, like king
Yeah,
of the like forest. But if you will see the lion in a zoo, he's just roaming here and there, enjoying with people, because he is manipulated. Like the lion don't know that what is his true potential. So I think
that's
as
right.
a human being, we are also manipulated in a circle. Like we like just open our eyes in the morning, we just start scrolling the reels, we start like wasting our time and just
Yeah.
doing the same thing repeatedly and daily, and just wasting our time. So how, as a human being or a person who is stuck in this loop, how we can come out of this? I hope you got my point, what I'm trying to say.
Yes, I do. Absolutely. It's a great point. There is different ways that you can answer this because this loop that you're talking about, it appears on any level of our human experience, actually. It's not just about the work, it's also about just the way we believe things, the way we look at things. You watch the news, you think, oh, this is the world and what's going on. That's just a construct, it's just a
Yeah.
matrix, it's whatever they want you to say. So I'm gonna say that first of
Okay,
all,
let's understand the term matrix. Like what exactly is
yeah,
matrix, first of all, and then you can go ahead that how we can come out of it.
exactly. So we need to understand, first of all, we need to identify the fact that everything, that like the whole universe, is just energy on a very, very, very fundamental level. Atoms, molecules, the water, our brains, our neurons, everything is just forms of energy. And
Yeah.
energy exists in fields. So
Okay.
consciousness is just a field of energy. And just like a river streaming down a mountain, and that river, that the water carries potential, right? And like by coming down, the potential becomes kinetic energy, and that creates the sounds and the actual water moving and all of that.
Yeah.
Consciousness does the same. And so I think that like throughout history and throughout time, some people every now and then realize that. And when people realize the true nature of consciousness as just energy, they are fundamentally put in front of a choice, which is what is going. It's like it's almost like a part of this energy field separates itself from it because it recognizes it, and so it chooses how to polarize. Just like a charge in an electric field can be positive or negative, humans can become positively charged or negatively charged,
Yeah.
and that is a choice. And so negatively charged humans, their purpose is to attract and use the stream of energy for their own benefit. So
Right.
in the same way as you have people that like can literally stop a flow of water, a river, to create a dam, because the resistance of the dam gives them electricity, and then they can use that energy for their own things. I
Right.
think that there are entities out there that, and with entities I also mean humans, not necessarily hypernatural entities, but also humans, that realize that they can do the same with the human consciousness. So if the human consciousness is just flowing, and you restrict that into an area, and now we're going to talk about how. But if you restrict and you create this area, you create a certain pressure, and this
Hmm.
pressure generates energy. And if these people learn how to funnel that energy, then they get it, right? And so the way they funnel it is through the idea of money, through the idea of power, through the idea of grabbing the attention and other things. And that's just energy flowing.
Oh
But
my god.
that's where the matrix comes from. Now the idea, the question is, how do you create the cage in the stream of
Who
consciousness?
are the higher authorities? Like who are those person who are stopping us to do that?
They're just beings that, just in the same way as through history you have great figures, great prophets, and people that came on earth to do a great service for the planet, and that those are positive people that are radiating energy and they are into the light, so we all see them, we all know them. There is people that are just completely polarized in the opposite sense, and so they hide, they're in darkness, and they
Hmm.
keep bringing in, right? They confuse people, they create distortions, they create illusions, They create situations in which people feel doomed. They feel they stay in a state of fear, and usually these entities become governments. Honestly,
Yeah.
because that's what a government does. That's their job, is to control people.
Control people.
And it's there. Like, we, from our perspective, we can say, we can call one, like, good and bad. Fundamentally, I don't think that there is. I think from a universal level, it's just two polarity of consciousness. It's just literally like having a positive charge and a negative charge in an electric field. It's from our perspective that we see, oh, those people are bad, or they're good. From the way I try to see it, is that this is just polarity of consciousness, and we can choose how to interact with it. And so, for example, I am not interested in polarizing myself negatively.
Hmm.
And therefore, I try to radiate knowledge. I try to integrate my experience, and then try to make something out of it that can be of service for others. Then the others can resonate with it or not. That's another problem. But I choose to polarize positively, and I think that this is actually one of the first, actually one of the fundamental steps to come out of the matrix, is to have that choice. Like, what are you doing with your energy in life? And and because this choice is not just about, oh, your grand mission, your ground work. It's about how you interact with people every single day of your life. You see an old man sitting alone on a bench. What's stopping you from going there and having a conversation with that guy? And
Hmm.
if you did that, then that old man would be extremely happy, and maybe you would build a great relationship with him, and that would be a service to others that would benefits you as well, right? And then there's other people that go there and see the old man and say, oh, he doesn't understand technology or anything. I could trick him into doing something to give me money or whatever, right? And that's polarizing negatively. And then there is, in the between, there is people that see the old man and do not interact, and they judge him,
Yeah.
or they are afraid of being old without really realizing. Why, how many kids they treat bad the old generation and the old people. I believe it's because deeply they're afraid of it, because they see the
Hmm.
future, right? You see an old
Yeah.
person, you'd be like, that's gonna be me, but you don't want to admit it. And so be like, oh, look at that guy, he doesn't understand anything. He's really, like, his brain
Hmm.
doesn't work, whatever. And so, so the Matrix is in my opinion, what the real Matrix is, because there is the Matrix. You can talk about the Matrix as the jobs, society, the system, the medias. That's a level of the Matrix. But there is a level, a deeper level, which is more fundamental, which is the Matrix is just when the conceptualization of the world. So when you have a model, when you create a model in your mind to try to describe the world in whatever level, many people get confused because they think, or they start looking at the model as the real thing. So if I say the word water, um, I mean this, but water is just a sound. Water is not this. Water is a
Hmm.
sound that indicates this. And so many people get caught into the illusion that the sound is the real thing. That's the Matrix, in my
Yeah.
opinion, right? That's the
Right.
foundation of the Matrix.
Amazing, amazing. It was seriously eye-opening. Like, it was very deep and very understanding. And as you told us that the upper service of the matrix is the media and the news channels and all those stuff. So, like, it is very easy to manipulate anyone, like, in this world. It's very easy to, like, control the human being. It's very easy. Like, if I want to make you star in next coming 1 week, I can do that because we have the power as a government. Or I don't know that if somebody else is controlling the government as well, because I don't know that there should be the, like, higher powers or the higher authority people. Like, they have the power of media, of government, of everyone. So within few days they can, like, just change anything. So it's very easy to manipulate anyone in this world. And
Yes.
some higher people and some people are just controlling this world, controlling all the people or and on the world.
Yes. Well, that's you, like, when you talk about who's behind the government,
Is there
intellect.
anyone? What do you
Well,
think?
yes. So my intellectual honesty allows me to say that we are entering in a realm of speculation, in a sense that we don't know for sure by being below this governmental
Yeah.
level. Now there is a lot of evidence in the many different fields that you can take, and there is enough evidence that it's actually proof that there is a certain level of directive being given from people that are above governments.
Yeah.
Now, and there is also, like, if you really do research, you can follow the money, and following the money is always the right idea to understand where things go. And you can see that in many, like every year, there is many trillions of dollars that are being funneled behind governments into what they call black ops projects. There is an entire military arsenal that is behind the government. The president of the United States can only access half of the top secrecy of levels of top secrecies that are actually in the government. So you wonder who's accessing the top ones. These people, again, they're in darkness because they hide.
Yeah.
That's their purpose. So we don't know who they are. There is speculations. There is people that call them certain ways. I call them other ways. I don't care about calling them because I don't care about giving them energy. If I pay attention to them, I'm giving them energy. What I care about is getting out of their control system, which is something that you can do without understanding to the depth, with precision, who they are or what they're doing. Once you understand the grand lines and the grand scheme of things, you understand and realize how much power they have, then you can just choose to detach from it. And there's been events in human history, in recent human history, in the last century, that prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's been some psyops, some false flags, things that they say happened, and they're like, yeah, actually, did they? And once you look into these are gateways for awakening. In the same, because everything that happens has always two sides of it. There is like any event that has meaning holds the potential to polarization towards positive or negative, as we were saying. So when these entities, governments or whatever, they create a false flag or they create a psyop event, there is potential for controlling the population. And as you said, just decide what to do in a matter of 3 or 4 days. We're literally watching it right now happening with all these Middle East wars and stuff. But at the same time, the same event will hold the opposite potential as well. And so some people might see the event and say, hold on, do I want to really believe that? Because it sounds fishy. There's things that do not really add up, right?
Really.
And so if you look at that side, then that event becomes a potential for people to detach. And there is also a danger into that, because many people that detach sometimes detach too much. And then they create another matrix. They create their own matrix, right?
Yeah.
And they get caught into dogmas, into a belief system, into thinking certain absurdities that traps them into simply another matrix. Now, they might not be trapped into the idea that the media gives you, but you're still trapped in a matrix. And so for me, the great understanding is to realize that anything that has a structure is fundamentally an illusion. The universe is just energy. Like, we're just in an energy field. You're just consciousness. You can sit with it. You can meditate. You can still that consciousness and allow to reflect that energy field without any structure for it. You can just enjoy it as it is. The moment you try to conceptualize it, the moment you try to restrain it into any sort of idea, any sort of dogma, that's a matrix. And there is different levels of matrices, right? There is and the deeper the matrix goes, the heavier it is. And so, like, when you go into a city like New York, Milan, I'm from Milan, Italy, the matrix is physical, because you have all these buildings, you have these straight lines, you have these pipes and lines that contain the energy and channel it in a certain way. And then you leave the city and you're in nature and say, okay, well, this is nice. Why does it feel nicer? Why is nature nicer than the city usually? Because it's unbounded, because it does whatever it wants. It has more free will. You know, in a city, you don't have, you have to walk straight. You have to go there. There is streets that go in a certain specific way. You're not in control. You go into a forest, you can do whatever you want. And so the level of free will augments as you leave the matrix, as you exit the heavy matrix and you rise above it. And as you rise, there is different other matrices, if we want to call it, but they might be lighter, they might be more tolerant, might give you more
Yeah.
free will. And many people stop there because they're like, you know what, I'm good now. You know, some people find their house in the middle of the woods. They still have ideas. They're not necessarily meditating every day to liberation from reality, but they're fine. They're free. And so I suggest to all the people that are listening, and all the people in general, is to really have an honest talk with yourself and define what is it that you like. What's the level of freedom that you want to achieve in this life? I think this is one of the fundamental questions. What do you want, and how are you gonna get there? Like, what are the obstacles that stop you from achieving that level of freedom?
Exactly. This is amazing. So, Martino, as you told me that we have to identify that what exactly we want in our life, and we should be questioning our thoughts and the things that we are believing, that why we are believing that, what's the reason behind this, and is this the thing that I really want to, or somebody is manipulating me, or like I am influenced by someone. But what is your goal, like what you want to achieve, what is your end goal that you have thought in your mind as a in your young, you are very young right now.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm pretty young, honestly. So I always so when I six years ago, I had an awakening experience, which was genuinely just like a very powerful one night awakening, just like boom, and I was like, wow. And so I spent
What
six
was that
months.
experience exactly? Can you please tell us more about that?
Yeah, sure. Basically, it was the culmination of the most incredible coincidences and the most incredible level of order that I've seen. That wasn't in my control. I just experienced pretty much all the archetypes, all that of my mind, all the things that defined me as a person. You know, the things that you like, your dreams, the type of girl that you like, that you love, like the archetype that defines you as a human being, mostly as a man. Um, they just appeared in front of me, physically in front of me, in one night. Everything just kind of coalesced in one big event. And before that, I didn't believe in any sort of spirituality, in any sort of I was born and raised in an atheist family, you know. So when this happened, and I always studied physics. I love physics. It's one of my passions. And so when this happened, the level of synchronization, the level of coincidences, bypassed by far what could be random, because the date that this happened, the things that happened, the whole thing was pretty much years and years of preparation, just boom, happening in one night. And it
Yeah.
happened outside of me. It wasn't ideas. It wasn't something that was happening only within. It was the outside world that was kind of happening as my mind. And I was like, for me, that was like, I was on the verge of being going crazy, because I couldn't believe it. You know, I was like,
Yeah.
this is
What
nuts.
is
I
that?
was like,
Yeah.
how is this possible? And that was my question. You know, that's what kept me going. I was like, how is this actually possible? Like, from a physical point of view, from like taking in consideration Einsteinian relativity theory and quantum physics and thermodynamics and all of these things. How is time able to synchronize with my consciousness?
Hmm.
That's the question that started what I like my project, which I call Estegua. And it's a question that allowed me to start digging into the realm of the mind, first of all, and to inquire in how the mind and reality are interconnected. And that brought me to develop a new language, which I'm going to publish very soon. It's now finally ready to be published. It's just a matter of finding the right ways to do that. And it brought me to starting studying and practicing energy work, a certain specific style of qigong, which allows me to connect with my energy, to align my energy field, to sit with myself, and to actually learn from direct experience how it is to be a human and how is the mind affecting the field of reality. And so it's been many years now that I'm practicing and studying and trying to create new ways of understanding it, with in mind what I said before, that anything, any idea, any construct that I will come up with will be a certain kind of matrix. So it's not going to be like truth or whatever. It's just a different way of seeing things, because we still need paradigms. You still need a certain level of matrix in order to keep eating from your own plate and not eating from someone else's plate, because there is a you and there is another person separated from you. So there's always needs to be a level of illusion that allows you to play this game of being with other people. Otherwise, the world doesn't have any meaning at all. The real game, in my opinion, is to accept that, and at the same time accept the fact that whatever game you're playing, it's still going to be an illusion. When you go out with your friends and you play a game, you don't think necessarily that game's going to cost you your life, or that you're playing life and death with the universe. You're still playing, though, because it's fun.
Yeah.
So in the same way, we don't need to pretend that there is a game that is fundamentally the ultimate game, and if we don't play it, we're going to go to hell. And even when you don't have that, you can still enjoy the games. You can still enjoy parts of the matrix, because suddenly you're detached from it. You don't need it anymore. It's not your identity. You're just seeing it as what it is. Like if I want to watch a movie, if I want to watch TV, I do. There's nothing wrong with it. The moment I understand that whatever the news telling me, I'm going to doubt it. Whatever, if I turn on a movie from Hollywood, there probably is some programming. They're trying to bring in some subliminal message. But then you watch it and you can almost enjoy it, because I caught you. You can see it and be like, there you go.
I got you.
So,
Right.
So my purpose is to lighten up the human spirits with the people that I will encounter in my life. Well, my fundamental purpose is to just kind of lighten up the human spirit, to lower the level of suffering of humanity in whatever scale I will be able to reach in my life. But
Amazing.
I would really like just humans to be like, hey, bro, take it easy, man. It's all good.
Yeah.
We're just chilling. It's just a field of energy. And the less we do with it, the more we can actually enjoy it and take it easy. And so meditation, qigong, expressing gratitude, try to be altruistic, all these things are a new game that you can play, and that will detach you from the rat race completely, because you're not going to care anymore. And at the same time, they will allow you to enjoy this without the drama, without thinking that you're doomed if you don't follow the right direction, or that there is a right and a wrong. No, I think we're in control, and we need to take responsibility for this control. When I think that many times people are like, the idea of God or believing in a higher entity can really help people into the moral path, because it gives you an idea of like, oh, I should behave right, I should do things right, otherwise it's going to punish me. But what happens when you realize that you are the judge, you are the punisher, you are the one who's going to decide what happens? Then doing the right thing or the wrong thing becomes a personal responsibility.
It's your duty.
It becomes your duty. You're not going to be judged except from yourself, which is always here. You're always here. You're not going to escape yourself. So what if you are the one in control of the thing? And that gives you a new understanding of why you should do the right thing or the wrong thing. And it also gives you the freedom of making mistakes, because you're like, okay, well, I'm here to learn. I'm here to explore. I'm not here to save myself from the wrong path. I'm here to try things out, but with the understanding that I don't want to hurt other people, because I don't want to interfere with their freedom. I don't want to interfere with someone else's free will, because that seems wrong. That feels wrong. Like if someone wants to do what they do, it's like, whatever, you do it, man. Like, it's okay.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna do
okay.
whatever I do.
Amazing. Yeah, you have a very deep and very beautiful understanding about all those things. Like, I'm very amazed by this. And like, the main thing is, no, like, as you have seen your friends or the people who are in our age, they are very, very addicted with lot of things. Like, they are addicted with drinking, they are addicted with the nicotine, the smoking, the like dopamine, and the with their mobile phones. They cannot detach themselves, as you told us, that detach yourself from all the things and just enjoy all the things, just enjoy that, yeah, I got you, I got all the things and all. But the thing is, they are highly addicted with that, and they cannot detach themselves from those things. Like, the main thing is the drinking and the smoking and all
yeah.
those things. So how we can like quit all of those things? Like, is it possible to do that?
So yeah, it's possible. And the other side is, always find the balance. Like, there's
Yeah,
things that we're like deep addictions are a problem for sure. Like, if you're addicted to something, it's a problem, but because it's messing with your time. Like, if
yeah,
you're addicted, it means that at some point you will have to give off some of your time to the drinking, to the smoking, to something,
right,
and
right.
that can ruin your life. In the other side, there are things that, in the other side, is like, you have time to detach yourself from it. It's like, some people, when you realize, if you have a little awakening and realize all of your addictions, um, you might have a freak out, because you're like, shit, like, there's a lot here. And so you might want to detach from all of it all at once. But that's just a reaction of consciousness. You have time. It's the universe is tolerant, so it's okay if every now and then you have that smoke. It's okay if every now and then you have that drink. I'm against alcohol, but that's very much based on personal experience and personal biases. So I'm not gonna judge someone if he drinks. Um, I think there are addictions that are very bad for you because of chemical reasons and because they impact your psyche and they disempower you completely. For example, porn. People don't talk about pornography. Pornography, in my opinion, is one of the strongest addictions, and it
Yeah,
might
very strong.
disempower your mind. It's crazy, and people don't talk about it because it's real. That's why. So people talk about all the things that are like, okay, but when we get deeper into what's really there, some people might be like, oh, I don't know. So if you think, like, for people that are listening and are debating within themselves, oh, am I addicted to porn? I just have one challenge: try to not watch it for 2 weeks. If you can, from today, be like, not for 2 weeks, then you're fine. You should not keep coming back to it, because it's really bad. Like, neurologically speaking, it's just as bad as like heavy drugs such as heroin. There's been studies defining that. But if you can detach yourself right now and not touch that material for 2 or 3 weeks, then it means that you're not necessarily addicted to it. Many people won't be able to do that, and this
Right.
might be an awakening, right? So, to come back to the question, how you detach from it. So first of all, you need to understand the concept of energy again. You need energy in order to, like, detaching yourself from an addiction. It's like sending a rocket into orbit, which means you need to detach yourself from the gravity field. So the addiction is bringing you back into that state of
Hmm.
mind, right? So if you want to detach yourself from it, you need the energy. Just in the same way as the rocket needs the power, you need
Right.
energy in order to detach yourself from it and stay detached, stay in orbit outside of it. So how do you generate energy? You need to do energy work. That's literally what energy work is cultivating human energy. I have my
Hmm.
own courses that teach people how to do that. Because there are processes, there are different styles of cultivation of energy, but there are very specific protocols, so to speak, that teach you how to actually cultivate this energy. Once you
Hmm.
have energy, once you're growing this energy, first of all, you need to keep it, like, you need to keep it collected. Otherwise, this energy becomes chaos and you get all excited and stuff, and you're back at zero because eventually it crashes. So you need to learn how to keep it together, keep it calm, keep your mind in control of it. So you need to regulate your mind. And as you regulate your mind, then you can also learn how to direct the energy wherever you want. which will allows you
Mm.
to direct it out and detach yourself from whatever you want to detach. But also, once you're detached, it allows you to direct your energy towards your dreams and make
Work.
your dreams become an actual reality. So
Right.
energy work is actually what, like, I believe that energy work in this century will become what fitness has become in the last century. So extremely important, because people will be like, whoa, this
Very
is cool,
important.
you know. Yes, because it's education. It's about, like, learn how to be a human, learn how to use your mind in the right way. um and so I always tell people, like, if you have the opportunity to get into energy work, do it, because it's going to change your life. I have my courses, I have my academy through the Estegua project, in which I'm teaching energy work with the fundamental goal or direction of expanding the mind, to opening a new field of perception that allows you to have a certain space of a certain detachment between you and reality, that allows you to see it objectively and not get caught into the matrix and the
Hmm.
emotions and all of that. And that allows you to just stay at peace and really lead a nice life, you know. So that's the purpose of the energy work that I teach. But there is, like,
Yeah.
many different kinds of energy work. There is, like, warrior energy work, like Shaolin training, kung fu,
Yeah.
martial arts,
Yeah.
yoga, qigong, different styles of it. So there is, it depends from what people want, depends on what people want to achieve with themselves and with their life. But once you have an idea of that, my suggestion is find a way to build energy and
Right.
to learn how to direct that energy
How to
towards
use
your
that.
goal. Yeah,
Yeah. Like, don't waste your energy here and there. Like, just collect it and utilize it where you want to do that, like in your work, in the dreams that you want to achieve. So this
that's
is the
right.
best thing that you told me. But can you tell our viewers, like, one or two hack that you use for be productive? Because I have seen that you have lot of knowledge, you are doing lot of thing, and now at the time you are also thinking to go on like social media and also helping other people as well. So I can see that you are very productive at your work and the works that you are doing. So, like, how you are so much focused and how you are doing all the things at a time, like how you are so productive. So can you send us one or two hacks?
Sure. So first, I think that one of the main things is to have a daily practice, like a
Okay.
daily. Either that's, it can be, you can start with 5 minutes of meditation. Really, it
Okay.
doesn't have to be complicated. But if you give yourself a daily practice, what happens is that, life is chaotic. Life, every day something happens. There is
Right.
someone doing, so it's very easy to just spiral out. So if every day you come
Yeah.
back to the same thing, what happens is that you spiral out, but boom, you come back, and then the day after, boom, 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 and that will allow you to find that center. If you find the center, what happens is that your energy, which is always like energy, many people think that energy is something. No, everything is energy. So if every day you bring yourself back to center, it means that every day you're bringing the energy into the same place. And
Right.
if you bring the energy in the same place, it's like putting a coin in a jar every day. At some point, the jar will be
Hmm.
full. So if you
Right.
can bring energy back to the same place, eventually you are gonna feel that. And so if that place is a little meditation in the morning in which you give an affirmation, for example, I will be successful. I am doing this. That's what's gonna happen. You're gonna give energy to it, right?
Hmm.
So
Right.
um, I, like, again, once I had that awakening experience, that completely took all aspects of my mind. I was, since that day, that my interest for life depends on this research. It might be a curse, it might be a blessing. That I'll let people judge that because I don't know. Because
Right.
it's constant for me. It's not really, but I have my distractions. I have my things. I have, like, it like, I for example, I love sugar. Like, I love anything that's sweet. I always did. I always had a sweet tooth. But if I eat too much of it and then I practice, I feel that my body's not right. So I need to learn how to keep it together. So how do you do that? Well, sometimes you just have to say no to yourself. And that's something that our generation doesn't know how to do. And I
Right.
didn't know how to do. I'm still learning. It's a big process because I don't know what happened, but something happened, and that makes us feel, and us, I mean, like people born after in the 90s, 2000s, in the recent years, that we feel very entitled. We feel very like, oh, well, I am right, whatever. And again, I have it too. Like we all have it, but
Right.
I recognize it that it's not necessarily a good and healthy thing. And so I try to replace that with discipline. And I think that that's something that lacks into nowadays world, is like discipline. How are you like, how do you build discipline? And through discipline you have, first of all, a sense of gratitude towards yourself because you're doing
Right.
good, like wow,
Mm.
that's cool. Secondly, that discipline will create that center that I was talking about, and you always come back to it, and that allows structure. And third, with discipline, you grow, you mature, you become a better human being for yourself.
Right.
So, so I would
100%.
say that. And if you want an advice a little bit more practical,
Right.
um, I would say learn or relearn, actually, because we all know how to do it in the first years of our life, but then we forget as teenagers and everything. Learn how to breathe with your lower intestine. Learn how
With
to
your
breathe
stomach.
with your intestines. The stomach is here, so the stomach is
Yeah.
more here.
Yeah.
The intestine is lower, so you want to breathe like with really low, the lower intestine, like down in the in qigong theory it's called dantian. In my side we call it donjon, but it's the
Uh,
same thing. And it's called that means a field of elixir, a field of energy. And this is where we center our physical energy. It's our gravitational center, it's our barycenter. It's actually where our physical body gets centered. And so if you
right.
start breathing in Dantian, what happens is that your energy gets centered there. And
Right.
in Chinese medicine, there is this the human is described as a landscape, a movement, dynamics of energy. And we have what we call the yi mind, which is our rational mind that keeps things in control. And then there is the xin, which is our emotional mind, which comes
Mm.
from the heart. And so the xin is fire energy, while the
Yeah.
mind is water energy. So just in the same way as water governs fire in life, I mean, water extinguishes fire. You want to learn how to empower your calm and collected mind in order to govern over the emotions that come up. So as something happens and it triggers you, the emotion comes up, and there is this fire coming up. And if you allow the fire to run, you're gonna react, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, and feel all judgmental and all like moral about everything, and you're emotionally upset, literally
Right.
emotionally upset.
That.
See what it means? It's
Yeah.
like the emotion comes up and it sets up, so you're emotionally upset. So if you use your mind to govern the fire, then the mind can calm that fire and remain collected. Now the question is, if you want to have water energy filling your mind and governing the upper body, what are we going to do with this fire? Because you don't want to extinguish the fire, otherwise you die, because you need fire in life. The problem is, where does the fire go? So you
Mm.
don't want the fire to come up, you want the fire to go down.
Down.
So you want to breathe into the lower abdomen, so that by bringing constant attention to your lower abdomen, the fire from the heart and from the foods that you eat, which is all around this area, instead of coming up, it goes down.
Go
And by
down.
going down, then it nourishes your organs. It
Mm.
nourishes the vital functions of your body. And by doing
Got
that,
it.
then you're healthy and everything, while you have also a collected mind, which is chill. So it's a great polarity. There is no good or bad. It's just like, it's cool. So
Amazing.
that's an advice.
Yeah, this is seriously amazing, and like you are seriously amazing. I love a lot
Thanks,
of
man.
things from you. Like got a lot of knowledge from you. This session was amazing. So, like, as you told, that energy is the next big thing, and like people should understand this. And as you are coaching people about and training people about this thing, and you are doing a great and beautiful job. So, if somebody in our viewers wants to connect with you and want to be a part of yours, so how they can, like, what
Well,
should they
right
do?
now, in this moment, my advice is like go on Instagram, Estigua Project, and you can
Okay.
message me directly. I usually reply to all the DMs, and from there, like there is also a link from my website that allows you to go directly to see my programs if you want to check them out. For many of the programs, I before enrolling people, I always want to check in with them and have a call.
Yeah,
So I
that would
always
be
tell
fine.
people to just DM me directly or book a discovery call with me. Um, and yeah, but I would say the first step is follow the page, follow the project. There is a lot that's gonna come out. I again, as I was saying at the beginning, I have a new language that is a visual form of language. It's a universal language. That's a very it literally its purpose is to expand the mind and to understand the field of the mind in a much more
Right. Yeah.
structured way. And so first thing is tune into Estegua, tune into it, and be part of this movement. And as you feel ready to start the energy work, get in contact with me directly through Instagram for now or through email as well. And then let's rock and roll. Then we can create a
100.
program especially for everyone that comes in. I usually see what's their purpose, what do they want to achieve, and try to schedule a program or a certain kind of energy work that is specifically directed for that. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's what's
100%,
going on.
100%. So this is amazing. So people, like viewers, if you want to connect with Martino, you can just go to the description. I'm going to share all the links. You can just click on the link, DM Martino, drop a follow, and make sure to like have a chit chat with him. He's a great person, mind blowing person. Learned a lot of things from this podcast. Thank you so much for your time. This was
Thank you.
seriously amazing.
Yeah, it was really good. I really, really enjoyed this conversation. It was really nice.